Okay, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver Night 1 is in the books, and yeah, they went back to Night 1. They're not calling Night 1 Stand and the next one Deliver, thankfully. I think they did for like a week and they went back, so anyway, yeah, Night 2's got a lot to live up to, I'll just say that right off the bat. We did have a kickoff show match. It was Zoe Stark taking on Toni Storm. Mickie James actually called this match for the commentary team. It was kind of unique right there. Good to see her again. Right off the bat, this is where the piped-in crowd noise kind of fails sometimes. Toni Storm gets booed during her entrance, but then as they're introducing everyone, they're chanting. Half of them are chanting, "Let's go, Toni." I mean, I think the problem is they're piping in the crowd side when they have a crowd there. They really don't need to do that. If they don't need to do that, like that's I think where it's falling apart. Anyway, right off the bat, Toni Storm used some hair pulling to maintain a headlock that she had on Stark there. Stark blocked a kick and then followed with a missile drop kick of her own. Storm pulled Stark off the top rope, blocked on a half crab. Stark hit a big kick and followed back with a superplex. Stark hit a dragon suplex and followed it with her flying knee to a kneeling opponent. I don't know what that's called. But then Storm fought back. She hit a sort of electric chair into a flapjack, and then she went for the Storm Zero. Stark blocked it once. She went for Toni went for another Storm Zero, and then Stark managed to catch that and counter into a small package for the 3 count of the victory. Really good match to start things off. Probably the best kickoff show match I've ever seen. And yeah, a little surprised. It's nice to see that I know Zoe Stark had kind of like they're pushing her well. I'll say that. Like she didn't lose the match early on to Io Shirai, but I think they're doing it in a way that okay, you believe that she could win matches and she's a credible threat because she's doing this now. Toni Storm I think is pretty much ready for the main roster now. I don't see with what they're doing and the NXT Championship right now doing much. So I think in this case it makes a bit more sense for her to maybe move on to the main roster. And so we now move on to the show proper with Kushida taking on Pete Dunne. Right off the bat, both men attempted to put an armbar on each other. They fought out of it. Kushida, let's see, locked on a standing surfboard hold. Dunne blocked a handspring and hit a suplex on the ring apron. Kushida did hit a handspring elbow on the entrance ramp. And then Dunne blocked another handspring attempt and locked on the finger snap maneuver. Dunne rolled out of an armbar. That's what I wrote there, sorry. My pen started to fade on me during this. Like I said, Dunne rolled out of an armbar and stomped on Kushida's elbow. Kushida came back, he hit the armbar superplex and tried to lock on the hoverboard lock. He actually, Dunne managed to block it with one arm, so Kushida literally moved it over to the other arm, but Dunne got to the ropes. Dunne managed to come back and snapped Kushida's fingers the second time. That distracted him just enough for Dunne to hit the kick, and then the bitter end to hit for the 3 count of the victory. Again, another really great match to start this off. Both men looked credible throughout this, even though one had to lose. So again, they're gearing up to push Pete Dunne even further. I don't know if he's going to be up in the NXT Championship anytime soon, but maybe for the North American title or something like that. Okay, our next match is the Gauntlet Eliminator match with the winner getting a North American title shot on Night 2 against Johnny Gargano. The competitors are Leon Ruff, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, and LA Knight. Ruff and Scott are starting things off, and then a new competitor enters every 3 minutes. And the only way to eliminate someone is from pinfall or submission. Okay? Anyway, like I said, Scott and Ruff started things out. Scott jumped Ruff during his entrance and attacked him. They fought on the outside of the ring, which delayed the start of the match. The match had not started properly yet. Eventually it did start, though. Ruff managed to come back. He hit a springboard cutter off of the announce table to the outside of the ring. And that managed to get just enough in. Bronson Reed was the next one out. Reed and Ruff double teamed Scott just long enough, but then Ruff immediately attacked Reed, which really looks stupid. Hey, why not work to just eliminate the guy first? So then Ruff and Scott, or not Ruff and Scott, well, I guess Ruff and Scott did temporarily work together, then Reed and Scott, but it was pretty fruitless overall. Cameron Grimes came out next, and he immediately used his GameStop millions to pay off Isaiah Swerve Scott to work with him for a little bit. It didn't really last. Not to mention, at one point, Scott hit like some type of flipping maneuver in the corner, and all the money fell out of his tights. So, yeah, I don't think he was very fruitful with it there. And then Grimes, paid Scott to come with him. Dexter Lumis came out, and as that was happening, Swerve Scott rolled up Leon Ruff, Leon Ruff for the 3 count to eliminate him. Lumis hit a DDT on the outside of on the entrance ramp to, boy, where am I on this? Lumis hit on Bronson Reed, sorry. He got in the ring, he attacked Grimes on this, and at this point, LA Knight came out. He was the last competitor, and he seemed to indicate that Bronson Reed had been eliminated when he hadn't been. Knight got in the ring, was running his mouth. Everyone kind of jumped him and attacked him a little bit. Lumis, at one point, clotheslined, I think it was Grimes over the top rope, and Dexter Lumis caught his leg on the rope or something. He got hung up really bad, like something. I don't know if he really hurt himself, but it looked like he might have. It was a really ugly looking maneuver there. And he got back in the ring. He locked the silence on Cameron Grimes, but then LA Knight rolled in through for covered Lumis and got Lumis into a pinning predicament and pinned him. Grimes was not eliminated, but Lumis was. And that was probably my one real drawback with this match. I mean, if Lumis isn't going to face Gargano for the North American Championship, then why have we been building a Gargano-Dexter Lumis feud for the last 2 months? Yeah, you just made that whole storyline completely pointless. Anyway, as this was happening, LA Knight gets ganged up on by everyone and eliminated. Reed, and that leaves Reed, Grimes, and Isaiah Swerve Scott as the last 3 in. They all kind of knocked each other out at one point. And then Scott rolled up Cameron Grimes for the 3 count of the victory, or to eliminate him. And that just left Isaiah Swerve Scott and Bronson Reed as the last 2. Scott managed to finagle. Bronson Reed went for his big top rope splash, but Scott managed to get up long enough to do a power slam off of the top rope and into the ring apron. A really nasty maneuver looking there. Then Scott hit 3 of his house call kick finishers, but Reed shrugged them off, and he hit a vertebreaker and then the top rope splash for the 3 count of the victory. So Bronson Reed will get a North American Championship opportunity against Johnny Gargano tomorrow night. There. Like I said, for the most part, this match was all right. Good storytelling. Bronson Reed has, I think, been needing a push for a while now. Again, guys who have proved themselves, I think, more than worthy of last year, and all of these guys, and yet they can't seem to get anything higher than, or they don't seem to get a lot of title opportunities on their own, and that's just where it sort of falls apart a little bit. And like I said before, I have no problem with Reed winning. It's been a long time coming for him, but at the same time, why do the storyline with Dexter Lumis? Why do this where Lumis is stalking the Garganos? If you're not going to pay that off, exactly, the second Lumis got eliminated, it's like, well, it's got to be Reed now because everyone left in the match is a heel. Exactly, and Gargano's a heel, so you're not going to have a heel versus heel match tomorrow night. So, yeah, it's got to be Reed, and it's like, that's kind of where that fell apart. Alright, our next match is the NXT UK Championship match, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Right off the bat, Walter went for a chop, but Ciampa got a boot up. He actually kicked Walter's hand. Another time, Walter went for a chop and hit the announce table, splitting the placard on the top in two, and began selling a hand injury for the rest of the match. Ciampa avoided a chop in the announce table. Walter did come back. He hit a back suplex into the ring apron. Walter was basically targeting Ciampa's neck most of the time in this match. At one point, though, he tried to lock on a Boston Crab, but because he's selling the hand injury, he couldn't lock it fully on, and so he had to sell for a half crab. Excuse me. Ciampa then came back. He had a large amount of clotheslines to stagger Walter enough to get him to the ropes. He couldn't quite clothesline him out of the ring, but at least managed to get enough to knock him down. Walter eventually came back with a clothesline of his own, but Ciampa hit a quick maneuver and then an air raid crash. That's what he calls it, the air raid crash. Ciampa came back, did manage to hit the fairy tale ending, but only got a 2 count. Walter came back, he had a German suplex, followed it with a big lariat. Walter then headbutted Ciampa off of the turnbuckle. It headbutted him into the turnbuckle, I think was what I said there. Ciampa managed to come back and hit an air raid crash from the second rope and only got a 2 count on it. Walter, at this point, started maneuvering around a little bit more. He couldn't, again, he had hit with his weaker left hand, not his powerful right hand for his chops, so they didn't have the effect as usual. And at one point, Ciampa had kind of like a shin lock locked on. Walter fought out of that, got into sort of a jackknife pin position, and began putting pressure on Ciampa's neck. Ciampa actually tried to bridge out at one point, again, further restraining his neck. Walter hit a stomp on the Ciampa's throat, and then he powerbombed Ciampa into a jackknife. Ciampa kicked out, but had to roll over his neck again, his surgically repaired neck. And then Ciampa fought back again, but Walter caught him in a sleeper suplex and then hit a chop to Ciampa's throat for the 3 count and the victory. Yeah, again, this was a great match. Good storytelling throughout everything. Honestly, looked like Ciampa might pull this off at some points, but I think everyone kind of knew that Walter had to retain here because they're trying to push the idea of Walter going after Finn Balor at some point, whether that's for the NXT Championship overall or they're going to unify him or I don't know. But still, I think, again, Walter had to retain here to keep that up and had to look strong, and it did a good job of doing that. But Ciampa still looked like he was worthy of doing things, even though he's really been doing that this whole time. Like his whole feud with Tim Thatcher, I think, did that. So I don't know if he was really down as much as they said he was. But still, I think that was really working. After that, we had a vignette for Frankie Monet, or as you would know her, Tara Valkyrie from Impact Wrestling. So yeah, I think we got everything up. They didn't show her completely. They showed the dog going into the office, going up the elevator, and then running into the ring. And yeah, Frankie Monet standing there, but you don't see her just from behind. And then they're saying she's going to be on next Tuesday as NXT is switching nights. And that leads us into the triple threat match for the vacant NXT Tag Team Championships. The Grizzled Young Veterans against MSK against Legado de Fantasma. And yeah, the NXT Tag Team Championships were vacated after Danny Burch suffered a knee injury. So that's what happened there. But still, right off the bat, Wild kicked Zach Gibson in the neck. That allowed Wesley to be isolated by Legado de Fantasma. MSK came back and had a Bronco Buster on Gibson. Basically, there were points where a team would kind of get knocked out of the ring and be out of the match for brief segments. And first one was Legado de Fantasma. Like I said, MSK double team Drake, but then LDF, I just wrote down. Legado de Fantasma got back into the match. Legado de Fantasma hit dual drop kicks on Nash Carter of MSK. Raul Mendoza hit a moonsault, but then Drake hit a Doomsday Device to the outside on Wild, so that started that up. Lee got the hot tag, hit a plancha on Legado de Fantasma. Lee then hit, like I said, that's when the Doomsday Device also happened after that. At this point, though, they were fighting the outside, both men, and that just left, like, Legado de Fantasma got taken out, and that just left the Grizzled Young Veterans and MSK. Both teams kind of got, well, phone message there, sorry. Both teams got some moves in. Eventually, MSK hit their corkscrew blockbuster finisher for the 3 count of the victory. Not a bad match. Again, a lot of high impact moves, a lot of hot action in there. A lot of great scenes. There was one point Gibson had, I think it was Wesley in the his submission hold targeting Lee's broken hand, and it looked like Lee was going to tap, but then Carter, who was also in a sleeper hold, reached over to block the submission, and that was probably the best point in the match there. If I still have to admit that I think the wrong team won this. Like, MSK is good, but this kind of screams like we're going to have a brief championship reign before we drop it to a heel team. You know, and it just kind of, yeah, it didn't quite seem to work as well. I think Grizzled Young Veterans or even Legado de Fantasma probably would have done much, much better to have won this. And then you can have MSK be the young, hungry baby faces chasing the championships, which is way more interesting in that case. Okay, and that takes us to our final match of night 1, which is the NXT Women's Championship match, Io Shirai against Raquel Gonzalez. Again, my pen ran out of ink here, so this might be a little tip. Right off the bat, Shirai charged Gonzalez and wound up getting driven into the corner for measure. Gonzalez blocked an attempted head scissors, and Shirai had to basically kick Gonzalez in the head to get out of her hold. Eventually, Shirai did hit a flying head scissors. Dakota Kai tried to interfere, but immediately got tossed to the back, and that allowed Shirai to hit an Asai moonsault, sending Gonzalez into the barricade. Gonzalez did come back at a neck breaker into a power bomb. She hit basically followed it up with a stun gun, basically. Stun gun maneuver, draping Shirai over the top rope. Shirai fought back at Hurricane Rana into a double stomp. She hit the Tiger Fan Kick and followed it up with a missile drop kick. She hit a moonsault to the entrance ramp that she and Gonzalez fought to the top of the entrance ramp. They had a big skull as part of, because they're doing the pirate thing with WrestleMania, so they have a skull set up there, and Shirai climbed to the top of that skull and did a big crossbody off of that. And then they got back in the ring. Shirai hit a moonsault, but only got a 2 count, and this flustered her enough for Gonzalez to get just enough of a recovery to snooker Shirai outside the ring and hit a one-arm powerbomb off the apron. She got Shirai back in the ring. Shirai did hit a big chop back that staggered Gonzalez, but Gonzalez immediately came back with a big lariat and then followed up with a one-arm powerbomb for the 3 count and the victory to win clean. Not really a surprise here. A great match. Good, fun action again throughout all of that. There were a couple of... one of the problems I think with the show is because it was simulcast on USA and Peacock. If I streamed it on Peacock, and when they would go for commercial breaks on USA, it would either fade to black or it would go dead silent, and then it would kind of pick up. You would pick up the announcers like maybe 5 seconds later. And it wasn't too bad, but sometimes it would be hard to tell, like, oh, was this supposed to be happening during the commercial break or not? So, yeah, sometimes things could get a little wonky in terms of action, where it's like, okay, this is taking a while to develop, and I think that did hinder this match a little bit. But really, this was another great match. I think it was kind of telegraphed that Gonzalez was going to win, I think. Again, Shirai's done what she can in NXT. She should probably be up on the main roster soon. They also showed the new signee from Japan. Is it Sarai? I can't remember the exact name, but yeah. It was sitting with Stephanie McMahon in the audience. So yeah, again, it's like we have the next Japanese women's star in NXT coming up. So again, it's like we had Asuka, and then we had Kairi Sane, and then we had Io Shirai, and it's like, okay, so I think they're sort of telegraphing that yeah, Shirai's probably going to lose this. You would think maybe Kai would interfere more. Also, when Raquel Gonzalez was celebrating, Dakota Kai didn't come out to celebrate too. So that was kind of another weird thing. Like, you would think she would come out and again celebrate with her friend a little bit before that. I mean, obviously they're going to build to Gonzalez getting turned on or something, or Kai turning on Gonzalez and them facing for the championship, and Gonzalez basically being a babyface, but. Yeah, you think you would maybe do that, push that a little bit down the line, like don't plant the seeds so far early. Still though, like I said, it was a great match, it was enjoyable. I think Gonzalez has had a lot of momentum behind her since the War Games. If you recall, when I reviewed that, I thought that Gonzalez would be the next big challenger for Shirai, and obviously that finally bore fruit. So yeah, I think this has been a long time coming, it's been a worthy thing. So. Like I said, overall, this was a great night of action. Good first part. Hopefully part 2 can live up to it. I'll see you all then.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's wrestle!
Hi, Rick. Hey, Brian. How the wife and kids? How's your mom? She says hi. Good.
And the winner of tonight's match is Ice Cold Bud Light. Bud Light!
For the great taste that will fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Listen, Steve, I hear you. I mean, if it's up to me, right, we'd have the crocodile hunting 24/7.
Exactly. Every single time I do my bootlaces up, I'm staring death right in the eyes. How many baseballers are doing that?
I'm with you then, sure.
Crikey! Stand back, John. Have a go at the size of this beauty. I got him, mate.
Steve, don't.
Woo! Isn't he gorgeous? I'll have him subdued any minute now.
I'll catch up with you later.
John, give us a hand, mate.
Okay, so we're finally at night 2. Boy, this was pretty grueling to get through. This was a much longer show than the other one was by about, I want to say 35 minutes. I think the other one ended just after 9, and this one ended just after 9:35, really. So yeah, about 35 minutes. So yeah. We did have a kickoff show match, which they didn't announce till like an hour before the show started. God, just announce it in advance. Like, if you're going to do kickoff show matches, do kickoff show matches. But stop with this teasing until the last possible minute. You're not putting anything on edge. And yeah, it's Breezango versus Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. The winner are the #1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The weird thing is, I thought Breezango were supposed to be taking a more serious direction at this point, but they came out dressed as pirates. So yeah, they're still doing kind of that shtick. Also, they only played Tyler Breeze's theme, not the blended Tyler Breeze Fandango theme. Right off the bat, Maverick hit an assisted axe handle on Fandango. Maverick basically kind of stole, I think it was either Fandango or Tyler Breeze's hat, and tried to put it on Killian Dane, and Dane was not having any of that. Fandango hit a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to come back. Breezango both hit kicks on Maverick. Dane got the hot tag and hit a crossbody on Fandango, and then followed that up with a slingshot senton. Breeze caused Maverick to caught Maverick with a supermodel kick, and then both he and Fandango landed kicks on Dane. But then Maverick came back into top ropes head scissors on Fandango, and then Dane powerbombed Maverick onto Fandango for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, this was more of a kickoff show match than last night, so already we're not starting off on a good foot in terms of superiority here, are we? Yeah, like the match itself was fine. It's just I think it was a little too shticky and shenanigan-y to really work. And again, we're already having #1 contendership matches when the titles just basically changed hands a little bit. Like, can we maybe stretch those bits out a little bit more? Like, I don't know why we needed a kickoff show match for this. Like, cut that, get rid of this match, cut the kickoff show down to a half an hour. I think it would have been a much better show because there would have been a lot more breathing room. Anyway, let's move on to the show proper. We had the ladder match to unify the Cruiserweight Championships, Jordan Devlin against Santos Escobar. Basically, if you don't remember this long story, Devlin was the Cruiserweight Champion, and, he's on NXT UK technically, but he couldn't defend the belt in the United States because of the pandemic, and Santos Escobar then won El Hijo del Fantasma won the tournament to be the interim Cruiserweight Champion. He then unmasked and rechristened himself Santos Escobar and founded Legado de Fantasma. And now they're having with everything with travel finally being cleared up, they can finally unify these championships and set this up as they do in a ladder match. Right off the bat, Devlin ducked a kick and hit an Uranagi. I followed that up with a standing moonsault. Devlin hit an Asai moonsault to the outside and hit the back of his head really hard in the corner of the announce table. It looked like it did kind of rattle him a little bit. It's one of those, man, I kind of hope he's okay after that. Escobar attempted a baseball drop kick on a ladder, but basically Devlin was trying to get the ladder in the ring. Escobar tried to do the sliding drop kick into it, but Devlin actually pulled the ladder out of the way and hit Escobar with it. It was actually a pretty cool maneuver there. Escobar hit a drop kick into the ladder, the ladder into Devlin. Devlin whipped Escobar into a corner-mounted ladder. Devlin hit a DDT off the ladder. Devlin hit a slingshot cutter, followed with a moonsault off the top of the ladder. It's at this point that Legado de Fantasma interfered. Wilde and Mendoza hit the ring and attacked Devlin, but Devlin managed to come back. He had a Spanish fly off the ladder, but then Santos Escobar rallied back and headbutted Devlin off of the ladder into another corner-mounted ladder, and for a really sick bump, and then he grabbed the two Cruiserweight Championships to finally become the undisputed Cruiserweight Champion. Afterwards, Escobar's son came out to celebrate. And I have to wonder, was Santos Escobar supposed to be the good guy in this match? I know a lot of people were really raving about this, and it was an okay match, but I don't think it was as good as a lot of people thought it was. I think it was a little too fast-paced. I think it was a little too, they didn't take enough time between the spots to really breathe. It felt rushed. The ending felt really rushed. I mean, just a simple headbutt being the thing that, it was a sick bump that Devlin took into the corner-mounted ladder, don't get me wrong, but yeah, again, the whole thing felt really hurried at the end and didn't settle too well with me. Okay, so our next match is the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship match. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, a.k.a. The Way, or the Gargano Way, or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, The Way jumped the champs right after the bell. The Way hit double team Shotzi Blackheart with a fireman carry into kind of a face breaker. LeRae attempted to use the ropes for a leverage pin right early on. Ember Moon tagged in and hit several strikes on LeRae. Hollowell broke up and eclipsed it. Ember Moon went for the Eclipse, but Hollowell broke it up and then led to a big tree of doom. Hartwell came back, hit the Spinebuster on Ember Moon. Blackheart got tagged in and hit LeRae with a Tiger Suplex. The champs hit kind of a Dominator DDT combo on, I think it was supposed to be Blackheart there, I'm sorry. Oh, no, it's on Candice LeRae. Hartwell broke the pin up, but then Moon hit the Eclipse on both members of The Way, and Blackheart hit a senton bomb for the 3 count of the victory. This match, again, not bad, just a little kind of pedestrian. Don't know if they should have changed hands here, but given what happened after that, I'll talk a little bit more about kind of the problems I have maybe with it. I get that Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart just won the championships, but I would point out the people they beat only held the championships for an hour. So, yeah, it just didn't really seem to work out too well. Anyway, that leads perfectly into the next match, which is the North American Championship match. Johnny Gargano against Bronson Reed, who, of course, won the Gauntlet match last night. Right off the bat, Reed used a lot of his agility. He actually countered a head scissors with a cartwheel. Then Gargano went for his slingshot spear maneuver, and he didn't knock Reed down. However, he did injure Reed's ribs, and then enabled Gargano to target the ribs. He hit a drop kick that sent Reed out of the ring, and then it sent him into the announce table, further aggravating his ribs. Reed eventually countered back. He managed to hit a couple of avalanches. He followed with the Jagged Edge. That's his version of the Death Valley Driver. Gargano hit a backstabber off the second rope. Reed came back, hit a big brainbuster. Gargano hit Poison Rana, and then tried to lock on the Gargano escape, but Reed fought out of that. Hit a basically what I write here. He hit a crucifix bomb over the top rope, and Gargano dodged the splash, though. That Reed tried to follow the move up with a splash, is what I'm trying to say, and Gargano dodged it. At this point, Austin Theory interfered along Gargano to hit a move off the top rope. Reed hit a power bomb after kind of a botch. Like, I think what they were trying to do was Gargano was trying to hit a head scissors off the top rope, but he didn't quite get the grab through. Not that was the idea was that Gargano was supposed to try to attempt the head scissors, and then Reed would counter into the power bomb, but Gargano slipped and rolled out of it, and so they just went to a generic power bomb. Reed hit another DDT, hit the vertebraker, only got a 2 count because Theory pulled the Gargano's foot up to the ropes. Reed hit a super kick before attempting a moonsault, but Gargano dodged it. Gargano then hit 2 slingshot DDTs for the 3 count and the victory. And yeah, again, if we're ever going to get the Golden Gargano couple winning the championships, then they kind of need to win. This is probably where having the tag belts change hands would have made sense at this point, if you're going to have Johnny win. Or you could have had Johnny face like Dexter Lumis and win, and finally blow up that feud, because that was the feud you were building, instead of having, or you should have had Gargano lose to Bronson Reed. And again, we didn't get any of that. And while the match itself, again, wasn't bad, it's just, I think it's fumbled storytelling. And yeah, there was, like I said, the botched powerbomb spot that just didn't quite seem to take too well. So yeah, again, I wanted to like that match more than I did, unfortunately. And so we'll go into our next match, which is the NXT Championship match, Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. And in the crowd, we spot Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan. I have no idea. Right off the bat, Balor goes right after Kross's non-surgically repaired shoulder. I mean, seriously, they showed the video, okay? They showed the vignette before the thing. It's obviously his right shoulder that was dislocated. That's in the sling. That's the one being worked on. They showed the big thing, the big close-up of the picture with the shoulder clearly out of the socket. And, okay, we can clearly see that's what's happening. So what arm does Balor attack? The left arm. The left arm, naturally, the one that wasn't injured. Balor lands a chop across the ring, but that was just allowed Balor to go Kross ended up charging him and wound up with Kross hitting the ring post. Kross then tied Balor in a tree of row and hit a couple knee strikes. Balor countered a move into an armbar DDT. Balor tried to landed a couple of kicks to the midsection, which injured Kross in a manner that Kyle O'Reilly had been injured when he was facing Finn Balor. Kross hit a neck breaker. Kross hit a Northern Lights suplex and followed that up with a power bomb. Balor hit a sling blade. He tried to go for his corner drop kick, but Balor blocked it and hit a lariat. And then he hit his Doomsday suplex. He tried to go for the straightjacket finisher, but Balor kind of rolled out of it. Balor didn't hit a sling blade. He hit his corner drop kick a couple more times. He hits the coup de grace, but Kross just manages to roll in such a manner that he can snooker Balor into the straitjacket, but Balor gets to the ropes. Balor tries another move. He hits a Pele kick, and that kind of antagonized Kross, and Kross fought back and just drove Balor's head into the mat repeatedly. He then hit a big German suplex, a big German suplex. He hit the Doomsday suplex, and then he followed it up with a big lariat to the back of Balor's head to finally get the 3 count of the victory. Karrion Kross is now finally NXT champion once again. You know, he had to forfeit the championship because of an injury. But again, it seems that now things are kind of back to the way they were supposed to be, for lack of a better term. And yeah, I think it's kind of been, like I said, I've made my peace with the Finn Balor thing. Okay, but yeah, again, once it started to be like, okay, well, when's Karrion Kross going to get his rematch? Because once that happens, you know Balor probably wasn't going to win it because they wanted Kross to be the champion. So yeah, I think this makes sense. It does seem to build things. The only problem I have is, why did we get the shot of Lorcan, Birch, and Dunne in the crowd when they didn't do anything? Like, they didn't attack Balor afterwards. They didn't attack Karrion Kross afterwards. Nothing of note happened, and that's kind of like, okay, then why did we get that? Still, though, the match itself was really good. I think it did a good job of telling the story. Again, the idea was Balor was trying to, because Kross is more of a power guy, he's more of a, catch you and just toss you around type. He's not really big into agility. He's not going to, he's not used to a long endurance type match. That's what Balor was trying to lead him into, and it sort of backfired on him. So it did a good job of telling that story, and I think that worked really well. And again, it's nice to see Karrion Kross get the NXT Championship back, and hopefully now he can have a nice, long, fruitful reign. Okay, so we're at the main event of this night. It's the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah, the unsanctioned match, that had a contract signing, which, I'm sorry, doesn't the fact there's a contract denote some form of sanctioning of the match? I mean, I get in the storyline the idea is Kyle O'Reilly is not medically cleared, so we can't have him getting injured in the ring or anything like that, so it's to absolve liability, but that still denotes a form of sanctioning in my book. Anyway, Adam Cole comes out. They don't do the Adam Cole baby, or they either muted, I think they muted the crowd for this maybe, because there was a little bit of it. Yeah, you can hear a little bit of it the second time, but yeah, I think it makes sense to not really do the Undisputed Era shtick when the Undisputed Era is no more. So, and I know that that's always been a part of Adam Cole's shtick, but still, probably for this type of match, he shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, O'Reilly landed a big kick and sent Cole in the corner. Cole hit a punt kick. O'Reilly hit a couple of big kicks in the corner again. O'Reilly catapulted Cole out of the ring. Both men tossed each other into the barricade. O'Reilly attempted a top rope guillotine, but Cole managed to slam him off the ring post and out of the ring. They began fighting towards... Cole then took out a couple of chairs, a bunch of chairs actually. A couple of them had the Undisputed Era logo on them, and used those ones to attack O'Reilly. Cole then hit a neck breaker on the chair. Cole then countered a knee strike with an Ushigoroshi neck breaker. O'Reilly hit a leg sweep and followed that back up with a backbreaker on the chair. Kyle O'Reilly hit a running drop kick off the apron with Cole seated on a chair. O'Reilly pulled out a chain, but then Cole got his hands on it and used it to hit a neck breaker on it. And Cole attached the chair to... he attached the chain. Sorry, he attached the chain to the ropes, and O'Reilly then used it to wrap it around Cole's ankle. No, he wrapped it around his own ankle and attacked Cole with it a few times. Cole then used the chain for a figure 4 leg lock. Cole then used the chain for a close. Basically, what Cole did was he reversed an Irish whip. He grabbed the chain. He pulled it up so when O'Reilly came off the ropes, he ran right into the chain neck first. And then right after that, he used the chain to hit a backstabber. Cole hit a last shot into a chair, but O'Reilly kicked out. O'Reilly countered a brainbuster into a guillotine, basically, and then tried to set up the brainbuster on the ring steps spot, but he couldn't quite follow through on it. Like, he just couldn't quite get there. Instead, both men fought over the announce table, and O'Reilly hit a brainbuster on the announce table. Cole came back and hit, I keep wanting to say Balor, sorry, O'Reilly in the head with a television monitor. Cole was kind of dominant at this point. He pulled out a pair of pliers from under the ring, O'Reilly got tire iron from under the ring. He used the tire iron to clothesline Adam Cole. O'Reilly used the chain once again for an arm bar, but Cole got the tire iron and whacked O'Reilly in the chest with it. Cole attacked with both men then used chairs to kind of get to their feet and began striking each other while sitting on the chairs. Cole hit a low blow and then a super kick. However, then when Cole tried to attack Riley's neck with the chair, the ref for some reason tried to interfere. Cole snapped and super kicked him, knocking him out. So when Cole actually did hit a Panama Sunrise, the ref could not count because he was knocked out. Both men then fought onto the entrance ramp. O'Reilly locked on a guillotine choke, but Cole basically leapt up and drove both men through the steel grating part of the entrance ramp and down below. Cole managed to get out. He tore open a hole in the side of the entrance ramp and pulled O'Reilly back into the ring. O'Reilly managed to fight back. He hooked on a heel hook, but then Cole blocked him with I believe the chain. And then Cole set up the chair, tried to set up the chair for the Pillmanizer type maneuver, and O'Reilly fought out of that. They then got into a position where they were on the top rope, and Cole tripped him up there. But O'Reilly Cole set up an inverted chair with the legs up, and he was trying to do a back suplex onto it, but O'Reilly low-blowed Cole, knocking him back where he settled just perfectly enough nicely on the chair. O'Reilly grabbed the chain, wrapped it around his knee, and hit the flying knee drop from the top rope for the 3 count and the victory. Whew, okay. Yeah, that was a grueling match. I think it was I do see a lot of the consensus that it was maybe a little too long. A lot of fake out finishers were just barely missed, and it's like, I do think like maybe that one could have been tightened up, and you could have extended, like, say, the ladder match out a little bit, and I think that would have probably helped a lot with the flow of this show. But still, this was an amazing story, an amazing way to hopefully finish this. Again, I hope I'll really get some much needed rest after this and start gearing up for probably his feud with Karrion Kross over the NXT Championship, because he's obviously being groomed for it at this point. So, yeah, hopefully everything goes through there. Like I said, the match did a great job of telling a story. It did kind of, like I said, it was probably a little too long. It did have a few slow points. It did have a few too many, missing or kicking out of big maneuvers at the last possible second. At least, with O'Reilly, most of those were not pinfalls. They were him trying to use submission holds. So I think that would have worked. That worked a little bit better. And then when he hit his big flying knee drop, it helped cement things. But other than that, yeah, it did kind of grind a little bit there. But still, really enjoyable match. Definitely helped elevate this night up, because I think everything up until then was at least for night 2 was really hit or miss. If you didn't see from my reviews of the other matches, obviously. The first night was spectacular. I think everything kind of hit its stride. Even though I had little problems, I didn't think it was too terrible. This one, I had problems with some of the matches, particularly that Kickoff show match. I don't think that really needed to be on there. I think that would, like I said, that just, I think, went a little too far. Still, overall, I think both nights have been strong enough overall to, of the 12 matches there were, 8 of them were still really good matches, really and of those 8, 4, possibly even 5 were spectacular. So really, nothing to really complain about here too much. So I am still going to be giving NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver nights 1 and 2 an A. It seems like maybe the old NXT feeling is kind of starting to get back a little bit. Hopefully now we can start to move on from Adam Cole and all this. I think Adam Cole should probably be up on the main roster. I think that was the one thing the main event missed. They should have had the stipulation that the loser left NXT, because I think that would have helped a lot too. But still, like I said, I hope Cole goes back up to the main roster. Maybe Balor can finally go up to the main roster again, and we can start to get the next generation of NXT talent to rise to the top, which it looks like is happening right now. except for Gargano. But still, like I said, again, now hopefully everything's elevated to the point where we can NXT can start to feel new again in my book. So yeah, I'm giving it an A. And okay, the next video is going to be the recap and review for WrestleMania 37. Again, that'll be much like this one, where it's 2 segments recorded on the nights that they take place. Sorry. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.